beginner-friendly garden makeover, easy and simple decoration tips. Imagine arriving at a residence where the first impression is shaped not only by the walls and roof, but by the dialogue between structure and nature. Architecture today is increasingly understood as an art of balance, a careful composition where indoor spaces and outdoor environments complement one another, forming a single living canvas. When we look at a home and its surrounding garden, what we truly see is an expression of lifestyle, personality, and vision for the future. In recent years, garden makeovers have evolved from mere decoration into a central aspect of residential design. The garden has become more than a backdrop. It is an extension of the home's architecture, a transitional zone where style, function, and emotion intersect. A thoughtfully designed garden can transform the simplest dwelling into a place of comfort and prestige, where family members and guests alike find a sanctuary. This is why the act of reimagining a garden is not simply about planting flowers or laying stones. It is about shaping experiences, creating a stage where daily life unfolds with grace. The journey often begins with clarity. Before any new material is placed, the garden must be renewed by subtraction. We remove the clutter, clear away weeds, and bring order to what is already there. This step may seem modest, but in design philosophy, clarity is power. Just as an architect clears a sketch to highlight form, the gardener clears space to highlight possibility. Once the frame is clean, the eye can begin to imagine what is possible, where light will fall, how paths might curve, and which corners may become focal points of gathering or solitude. Color is the lifeblood of a garden, and in architecture, color often dictates atmosphere. A neutral-toned house can be redefined by the vibrancy of flowers that stand beside it. Annuals and perennials, arranged in thoughtful combinations, not only brighten the soil, but also introduce rhythm across seasons. In design terms, they act like the textile layers of an interior space, changing, softening, and refreshing the structure around them. The beginner may worry about which plant to choose, but the principle is simple. Opt for resilience. Marigolds, petunias, and lavender are more than flowers. They are design allies, forgiving and generous, thriving even in unskilled hands while lending grace to the landscape. Beyond color lies the concept of focus. Every successful composition requires an anchor, something to draw attention and hold it long enough for the rest of the scene to unfold. In a garden, this may take the form of a bench positioned with intention, a fountain whose sound becomes music, or a sculptural element that converses with its natural surroundings. The role of a focal point is not to dominate, but to harmonize, guiding the eye as it moves through space. Just as architects employ symmetry, proportion, and perspective, the gardener employs focal features to unify an outdoor room. Light, too, is architecture's eternal partner. In the garden, it becomes even more poetic because light here is not only reflected from glass or stone, but absorbed and refracted by living leaves, petals, and textures. Evening illumination has become an essential design gesture. Solar-powered fixtures, string lights woven into branches, or lanterns guiding a pathway, all are tools to extend the life of a garden beyond daylight. They transform the garden into an evening salon, a stage where conversations continue under the glow of gentle radiance. Light is what makes the garden not only visible, but inhabitable, ensuring safety while heightening atmosphere. One of the most underestimated aspects of garden design is the pathway. In architecture, circulation determines experience. The way we move defines how we perceive a space. A garden without pathways is like a building without hallways. It lacks order, rhythm, and clarity. Simple stones, gravel, or reclaimed brick can define routes that invite exploration. These routes suggest narrative. Walk here, pause there, discover what lies beyond. In this way, pathways turn the garden into a story, unfolding chapter by chapter as one follows its curves and edges. Personalization is what elevates a design from generic to unique. Just as an architect listens to the client's identity, the garden should echo the homeowner's voice. A DIY project, a repurposed chair, or even a hand-painted pot speaks volumes about authenticity. The garden becomes less of a showroom and more of a self-portrait. Rustic, tropical, or minimalist touches can be layered with subtlety, ensuring that the garden is not just fashionable but timelessly personal. These gestures are small, yet their impact is profound. They whisper individuality into the larger architectural symphony. Yet no design achieves beauty without discipline. Storage, order, and organization are essential. A clutter-free garden expands the perception of space, just as decluttered interiors create calm. A discreet shed, a cleverly concealed bench with compartments, or even recycled crates for tools can sustain the garden's long-term harmony. Without such solutions, chaos will inevitably intrude, overshadowing the design effort. The principle is simple: to honor beauty, maintain clarity. Ultimately, the garden makeover is more than a cosmetic exercise. It is an act of design philosophy applied outdoors, a declaration that even the humblest patio can aspire to architectural grace. The cost is not the barrier, nor is professional training. What matters is vision, patience, and the courage to express personality through design. The garden, unlike static walls, is alive. It evolves, grows, and adapts. Each season writes a new layer, reminding us that design is not an endpoint, but a living process. And so, as we stand in the first stage of reimagining residential spaces, we recognize that every brushstroke of effort, from cleaning and planting to arranging light and building pathways, contributes to a larger architectural narrative. This is the beginning of a home's dialogue with nature. A design statement written not in concrete or steel, but in soil, sunlight, and living growth. As the vision of a renewed garden takes shape, we begin to understand its deeper role in contemporary residential architecture. A home without a well-considered outdoor environment feels incomplete, like a composition missing a crucial movement. The second phase of this exploration moves beyond the fundamentals of cleanup, planting, and focal design to embrace a larger perspective: how gardens reflect style, respond to cultural shifts, and anticipate the future of living spaces. Architectural history has always acknowledged the garden as a mirror of its age. In ancient civilizations, gardens were symbols of order and harmony, a way to bring balance between humans and the cosmos. In Renaissance villas, they were orchestrated landscapes, extensions of grandeur and intellect. Today, the modern garden has shifted towards intimacy, sustainability, and adaptability. It is no longer a statement of wealth, but a canvas of lifestyle choices. When we speak of trends, we are truly speaking of values, what we prioritize in living, and how design answers that need. One of the most powerful trends shaping current outdoor design is the blending of indoor and outdoor living. Homes are increasingly designed with large glass doors, fluid thresholds, and terraces that dissolve the traditional boundaries between house and garden. In this context, the garden becomes an additional room, furnished and styled with the same care as interiors. Sofas, dining tables, rugs, and lighting once reserved for living rooms now find their equivalents in weather-resistant outdoor versions. This extension transforms the garden into a social stage, a place of relaxation, entertainment, and shared meals. The key design principle here is cohesion. Colors, textures, and furniture forms should resonate with what is inside the home, ensuring a seamless dialogue between the two realms. Equally important is sustainability, a force that shapes every architectural decision today. Gardens are now viewed not only as aesthetic spaces, but as ecological systems. The beginner may plant marigolds and lavender, but the forward-thinking designer selects native species that thrive without excessive irrigation, attract pollinators, and restore biodiversity. Rainwater harvesting, vertical gardens, and edible landscapes are no longer niche experiments, but mainstream practices. The sustainable garden is practical yet poetic. A vegetable patch coexisting with ornamental flowers, a composting system discreetly integrated into design, or permeable pathways that manage stormwater. These features prove that sustainability is not a compromise of beauty, but an enhancement of meaning. Technology, too, has entered the garden with subtlety. Smart irrigation systems, solar lighting, and automated shading devices now allow homeowners to maintain lush spaces with minimal effort. The garden of the present is not only a sensory retreat, but a responsive environment, adjusting itself to weather conditions and human needs. In design presentations, these innovations are celebrated as invisible aids, quietly functional while keeping the natural character of the garden intact. The aim is not to dominate nature with machinery, but to harmonize design with intelligence. In terms of style, current trends reveal a fascinating duality. On one hand, minimalism continues to inspire clean lines, restrained palettes, and uncluttered compositions. A minimalist garden often relies on monochromatic plantings, geometric paving, and sculptural furniture, appealing to those who seek calm and clarity. On the other hand, maximalist gardens are also gaining favor, celebrating abundance, eclectic plant mixes, and vibrant color schemes. These gardens embrace imperfection and spontaneity, reflecting a cultural desire for freedom and creativity. Both approaches are valid, and the choice lies in personal identity. Architecture today honors diversity and taste, allowing the garden to be a tailored reflection of its inhabitants. Another growing direction is the narrative garden. Designers now craft outdoor spaces as storytelling environments. A garden might echo a rustic countryside with reclaimed wood and wildflowers, or it might channel a tropical retreat with lush palms and water features. In urban contexts, small balconies and rooftops are curated as micro-gardens, compact yet rich in personality. The underlying principle is immersion. When you step into such a garden, you feel transported, as though entering a parallel world crafted from design imagination. Lighting design continues to evolve as a key player in these trends. Beyond string lights and lanterns, architects now integrate concealed LED strips under benches, uplights that dramatize tree canopies, and dynamic systems that change color temperature according to the time of evening. Light becomes choreography, guiding emotions as much as footsteps. The goal is not only visibility but atmosphere, transforming the garden into an environment where memory and mood are shaped as vividly as in any architectural space. Material selection also speaks volumes about where garden design is headed. Reclaimed wood, recycled stone, and eco-friendly composites are replacing synthetic short-lived materials. This choice is not only ecological but also aesthetic. Weathered surfaces tell stories, imperfections add authenticity, and natural finishes connect the garden to timeless traditions of craftsmanship. Architects and homeowners alike are rediscovering the beauty of restraint, where fewer but higher quality materials establish a sense of permanence. Finally, we cannot overlook the role of wellness in the future of garden spaces. In a world that grows more urbanized and digital each day, the garden is celebrated as a sanctuary for the body and mind. Spaces for yoga, meditation corners, and sensory gardens with aromatic herbs are increasingly incorporated into residential design. These elements elevate the garden from decorative space to therapeutic environment, aligning with a broader architectural mission to enhance human well-being. Thus, the second layer of our reflection reveals that gardens are no longer peripheral. They are central to the identity of contemporary architecture. They embody sustainability, technology, lifestyle, and wellness, all while maintaining the timeless allure of beauty. A beginner may enter this world with simple steps, but the trends point toward a future where outdoor design becomes a defining expression of culture. The garden, once a decorative afterthought, now stands as a vital architectural frontier, shaping how we live today and inspiring how we might live tomorrow. As we move toward the concluding vision of residential gardens and their role in architectural design, we must consider not only the present, but also the horizon of possibilities that lies ahead. The future of garden design is shaped by rapid shifts in technology, urbanization, climate awareness, and cultural values. This future challenges us to think of gardens not merely as outdoor ornaments, but as adaptive systems, as evolving spaces where architecture, ecology, and human aspiration converge. The first and perhaps most transformative dimension of future garden design is adaptability. Homes of tomorrow will face changing climates, unpredictable weather patterns, and shifting urban conditions. Gardens will need to be resilient, capable of withstanding extremes of heat, heavy rainfall, or drought without losing their beauty and function. Designers are already experimenting with climate-responsive plant palettes, integrating resilient native species alongside innovative planting techniques such as xeriscaping. These approaches ensure that outdoor spaces remain sustainable while also reinforcing the architectural integrity of the home. The garden will no longer be a fragile accessory but a robust partner in the life of the house. Urban density also propels a new chapter for gardens. As cities grow more crowded, horizontal land becomes scarce and vertical solutions rise in importance. Rooftop gardens, balcony planters, and green walls are shaping a new language of architecture. They allow even the smallest residences to enjoy a touch of greenery, transforming concrete skylines into living ecosystems. For architects, this signals a shift from viewing gardens as ground-level features to treating them as integrated layers of the building envelope. The home becomes a breathing structure, wrapped in foliage, where every elevation holds potential for growth. The influence of technology on future gardens will be profound, yet discreet. Imagine gardens where sensors monitor soil moisture and adjust irrigation precisely, where drones assist in pruning tall hedges, or where augmented reality helps homeowners visualize seasonal changes before planting begins. Such innovations will empower even beginners to manage complex garden systems with ease. Yet, technology will not overshadow nature. Rather, it will amplify the garden's vitality, ensuring that beauty and health are preserved with minimal ecological cost. The most successful designs will be those where technology disappears into the background, allowing plants, light, and texture to remain at the forefront. Culturally, the garden of the future will reflect a desire for community and shared experience. While private gardens will always hold value, there is growing momentum toward collective green spaces where neighbors interact, children play, and urban dwellers reconnect with soil and sky. Architecture will increasingly prioritize courtyards, shared terraces, and communal edible gardens as part of residential planning. These spaces encourage not only sustainability, but also social cohesion, reminding us that design at its best nurtures both people and the planet. Stylistically, we may anticipate an even greater diversity of approaches. The future will not adhere to a single dominant aesthetic, but will celebrate pluralism. Some will favor hyper-minimalist gardens, sculpted with precision and restraint, reflecting technological sophistication. Others will embrace re-wielded gardens, deliberately untamed and full of biodiversity, echoing a longing for authenticity and natural abundance. Still others may experiment with hybrid forms, gardens that combine structured geometry with wild plantings, digital installations with organic materials. This fluidity of style will mirror the complexity of contemporary culture itself, where multiple identities coexist and evolve. The role of art within gardens will also expand. Beyond benches and fountains, we may see interactive installations, kinetic sculptures powered by wind, or digital projections woven into landscapes. These artistic gestures will transform the garden into a multisensory gallery where the experience of space shifts across time and mood. In architecture, such integration of art and landscape will redefine the garden as not only functional or decorative, but also expressive, a medium for storytelling and imagination. Well-being will remain a dominant driver. As society faces stress, digital saturation, and environmental anxiety, the garden will be prized as a sanctuary of restoration. Future designs will emphasize therapeutic features, soundscapes with water elements that calm the mind, aromatic plantings designed to reduce stress, and textured pathways that encourage barefoot connection with the earth. These gardens will be less about display and more about healing, ensuring that architecture serves not only the eye, but also the spirit. In practical terms, storage, maintenance, and efficiency will also evolve. Future gardens may incorporate modular systems, planters, seating, and lighting elements designed to shift easily as needs change. Furniture that doubles as storage, planters that stack or expand, and irrigation systems powered entirely by renewable energy will redefine convenience. The homeowner of tomorrow will not be burdened by upkeep, but empowered by solutions that are intuitive and adaptable. What unites all these visions, resilience, verticality, technology, community, pluralism, art, wellness, and efficiency, is the acknowledgement that the garden is not static. It is dynamic, alive, and responsive. Just as architecture itself adapts to context, culture, and innovation, so too does the garden. And in this adaptability lies its enduring charm. The garden grows with us, reflecting our values, our challenges, and our hopes for the future. When we step back, we see that the evolution of garden design is a metaphor for the evolution of architecture itself. It begins with clarity, matures with creativity, and aspires towards sustainability and meaning. The simple act of planting flowers or arranging stones unfolds into a much larger story, one of humanity's ongoing relationship with nature, beauty, and community. The homes of the future will not merely contain gardens, they will be defined by them, with every threshold opening to green, every skyline softened by growth, and every life enriched by connection to the natural world. Thus, the garden makeover that began with simple beginner tips expands into an architectural vision. It is not just about making a space prettier or more functional. It is about reimagining how we live, how we connect, and how we project ourselves into the future. The garden, humble yet profound, stands as a testament to our creativity and resilience. It reminds us that beauty is not purchased but cultivated, that design is not fixed but evolving, and that the future of architecture will always be rooted, quite literally, in the living soil beneath our feet.